J.D. Vance in denial again and again and again. In a stunning new interview with the New York Times, Lulu Garcia-Navarro, who is a frequent guest here on our program and who will join me in a moment, Garcia-Navarro pushes Vance 5 times, and 5 times Vance refuses to say if he believes Trump lost the 2020 election. Just watch.
In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator,
Lulu,
yes or no?
Okay.
Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested would have cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator
I think that's
Vance,
the question.
I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020
And I've answered
election?
your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there were problems in 2020.
Vice President Harris tonight seizing on this, insisting she won't surrender herself with yes men like Trump does.
You know, the way that I like to lead, I bring folks in my office all the time, and they know I don't want any yes people.
The Harris campaign also tweeting out Vance's entire exchange with Garcia-Navarro, and we should point out Vance wasn't always an enabler of Trump's lies. Our K-File just this week uncovering reportings of Vance from 2020, admitting people will accept Trump lost.
I think that when Biden is inaugurated, people will, more or less accept it, and it'll be on to the next fight.
Well, Vance has obviously changed his tune now that he's Trump's running mate. Lulu, let's start with you. We've watched it tonight several times. You gave Vance 5 opportunities to say Trump lost the election. What was going through your mind as he pushed back the second time, the third time, and on and on?
I think one of the things that's really important to understand is this is one of the key questions of this election. We've seen in polls, we've seen over and over voters saying that democracy is also on the ballot. People are concerned about this issue. 2020 is on their minds, and Donald Trump has refused to acknowledge that he lost that election. J.D. Vance is a hair's breadth from becoming the vice president of this country, and so pressing him on this issue is important because we know over and over again that it is a lie, the big lie, at the center of what Donald Trump requires people around him to say. And so by pressing him over and over again, really there is just one question and there are 2 answers. The question was the one that I said, and the answer is yes or no. And the fact that he couldn't give a yes or no, I think, is extremely telling. And what I'm doing there is really try to make sure that the voters understand the position that J.D. Vance holds, and by extension, the Trump campaign.